Okay, so now we're going to move on to steps 6E through 6G. We've got our switch on here, we have our USB port, and we've got our wire leads for the LEDs all installed. So our next step is to install R1 and R4, which those are going to be 82 ohm resistors in these spots right here. R1 and R4 are going to be on the left side. R2 and R3 are going to be on the right. So our resistors are read from left to right, as we know. So we're looking for 82 ohm resistor, and it's hard to see this, but we're looking for an 82 ohm resistor, and this one has a silver. If I can get this turned around right for your view. I think I've got it backwards. So you can kind of see it here. On the left is silver, which is a value of 8. Beside that is red, which is a value of 2. And then our third color is black, which is a value of 0. So that is going to be our 82 ohm resistor that we'll use for R1 and R4. and these should be together, taped together in the package. Okay, so I'm just going to bend the leads on the resistor like we did with all the other resistors we've done. And I'm going to put this one into R1. And I want it to read left to right, so the gray side or the silver side will be on the left. And I'll stick that in R1, and then the next one is going to go into R4 just above that. And now I can put my finger on top and flip the board over and bend out the leads so it'll hold them in place, so I can solder them on. Now it's going to be a little difficult because you've got the switch and the USB cable on the back that's making it sit uneven, so it'll be at an angle, and my soldering iron's not warmed up yet. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and move on to step F and install R2 and R3 resistors 2 and resistors 3, which those are 10K ohm resistors. So you can see here on the left side. On the left side, I've got the brown bar, which is the symbol for 1. Then I have black, which is a 0. So 1, 0 is 10. And then the third line is my multiplier, which is orange. And that multiplier is 1K. So I've got 1, 0, and 1K, which is 10K ohms. So I'll go ahead and bend this in the same fashion as all the other resistors. And these two should be the two that are loose in the smaller bag. I can't guarantee that that's the way it is in everybody's packs, but it should be that way. So let me check my soldering iron. Looks like we're good to go. Tend the tip a little bit so I can get these soldered on. And again, especially with these, it's such a small pad that we don't need a whole lot of solder. So, as we always say, a little dab will do ya. And again, I'm putting the iron on the pad and the component and then bringing the solder to it. And then I remove the solder, then remove the iron. So you can kind of see those there, pretty solid joints. This one's a little bit of a cold joint, so I'll just touch that to reheat the solder, and it brought the solder around to fill in the joint. So now I've got 4 solid joints. I know the focus on this camera isn't that great. It focuses when it wants to, where it wants to. And now I can clip these leads off. And now I can insert my resistor 2 and resistor 3. We've already got those bent. Again, I want it to go in from left to right, so I want the brown to be on the left side and the gold to be on the right side. Put that into R2. And this one into R3. So again, finger on top so I can turn it over. Bend my leads so it'll work for me. And being careful not to move the wires around too much or yank them back out. I can set the board and solder back in. Now for this video, the circuit board is slanted away from me, so it's harder for me to see what I'm doing. But I'm trying to do it for your benefit so you can see it better. So I've got those 4 soldered in. The joints look pretty good. And now I can clip off the extra leads. So I'm going to clean my space up a little bit, get these pieces out of my way so I'm not sticking myself in the arm with them. Alright, so again we've got our resistors 1, 2, 3, and 4 all placed on the board. And now we're going to move on to the capacitors. As you can see, the capacitors are the round objects with 2 leads sticking off of them, kind of like the LED diodes without the light bulb. And much like our LED diodes, you can see that one wire is shorter than the other wire. So our short wire is the negative wire on this, but there's also this gray line on the side of the capacitor. As you can see, the rest of it is solid black, and then there's this gray line that indicates the negative. With the glare, it's really hard to see it, but there is a negative symbol. There's actually 2 negative symbols inside of the gray line. But I can't get between the glare and the focus, I can't really bring that in. But right there are the 2 symbols. So the important part is the short lead is the negative lead, and the side with the line is the negative side. So we're going to do this just like the LED diodes on our silkscreen side of the board. It has a positive symbol, so we'll put the longer LED or the longer lead in that positive hole, and then we'll turn our board over, bend those wires so it'll hold it in place. And since we're here, we'll just go ahead and put in the capacitor 2 with the long lead going in the positive, and we'll bend those. Alright, now we can set these down. I'm trying to get it at an angle so you can hopefully see it better. So I can set these down, and now I can solder those to the board as well. Again, these holes are smaller than what we've worked with so far, so it's not going to take as much solder to connect the component leads with the pad on the board. Okay, so let's check this out. It looks pretty solid. All four of them are good joints. There's no bridging. You can still see the green in between the two different pads. So I'll just come in and clip off the remaining part of the leads. I can stick my finger on top to make sure that lead doesn't go flying across the room or fly up and hit me in the face or something like that. Alright, so I'm going to clean these up, and now we've gone through. We've got our USB on here, we've got our switch, we've got our resistors, our R1, R4, R2, and R3 resistors on here. We put in our capacitors, and we're pretty well good to go to the next one. So again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't forget to reach out to me, and keep up with your Schoology assignments. Don't forget to post your pictures. I'll see you later.